Welcome to another episode of the Throne Takeover. My name is Maritza. I am your host, and today is no different. We are here to be inspired. Now, the Throne Takeover is where real women share their stories, their experiences, and share with you how they've managed to achieve their ambitions, how they've managed to make their dreams come true, and they did that all the while making sure that they are planning for their family. We'll explain how the role of family planning can actually help you get to where you want to be as a woman. And while we're on that, make sure you go to Discover Your Power UG on Facebook, like the page, and you will find all the information you need about what we're going to get into today. This is brought to you by Discover Your Power UG. We'll let you know how you can take your own power into your own hands and use the self-inject contraceptive to help you achieve the dreams that you have, just like the ladies we share with you have already done. Now, previously in November, we were inspired by Angel Nasimbwa. She is the founder of Wonder Kids Collection. She shared with us how she came up from orphanhood, fending for herself, getting married, having children, starting a business, and she managed to space her children out and continue to live her dream, all the while family planning was at the heart of all that she achieved. Now, today is no different. We are here to inspire, and I'm excited to introduce to you the queen on the Throne Takeover today. Now, if you haven't heard of Nalubowa Hadijah, you're about to know the true power of a woman. Nalubowa Hadijah is a mother, she's a law graduate, she's a victim of early childhood marriage and also of early teenage pregnancy. Now, today she will share with us how she has grown up, how she became the person she became, and how she has achieved the things that she has achieved today. Ka law graduate mukaulide. Hey, there's more to come. And I'm very excited to introduce to you this powerful woman, and I hope that she inspires you. Make sure you comment, make sure you ask the questions you need to ask, but it's time to get into the Throne Takeover today. Welcome with me for the very first time in this chair. She is a queen, she's a mother, law graduate. Her name is Nalubowa Hadijah. You are welcome. How are you? And yes, you are fine. You're very fine. I'm well. I'm very, very happy to meet you. Now, I'm lucky I got to speak to you, before we actually came here to do this. But a very interesting fun fact, Nalubowa Hadijah was actually born Yiya Proskovia, and she changed her name in two phases. There was part 1 and part 2. She will definitely share with us how that happened. So before you even share with us how you became Nalubowa Hadijah, who is Nalubowa Hadijah?
Nalubowa Hadijah, I would start. Okay, I'm Nalubowa Hadijah. I'm a Ugandan, female, aged 37. I'm married. I'm a mother. I'm a law graduate, as you said. I'm also a graduate in international relations and diplomatic studies. I'm a businesswoman, active businesswoman. However much I'm not yet active in other fields, the professionals I have, but I have hope. Yeah, I have to practice. Yeah.
You said something powerful there, hope.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a pin in hope, because we're going to talk about hope.
Yeah.
And I think someone today is going to walk away with hope because of your story.
Yeah.
So, Hadijah, you were Yiya Proskovia, and then you became Nalubowa Proskovia. Keko kapatuan, maso kulutimbe. How did you become Nalubowa Proskovia?
As I'm said, I'm Nalubowa Hadijah, a Ugandan. Most of Ugandans, they come from humble background. I'm one of them. Yeah, I grew up in a family of 6 children. My mother and my father, we are both working.
So you went from Yiya Proskovia to first Nalubowa Proskovia. How did you change from Yiya Proskovia to Nalubowa Proskovia?
Yes, I was Yiya Proskovia initially. Just because I grew up with a stepdad. So that is the name. That name was given to me by my mother, Yuya Proskovia. I think it comes from her side. So as I grew up, I started school. I used that name, but I used to hear that this was not my real father. But when I tried to ask who was my father, my mother was a little bit tough. Yeah, she didn't want to tell me. So I continued until I reached P7. We had to register for PLA. And when I asked my class teacher, should I use my stepfather's dad name or my stepfather's name or the real father? He told me, I think he should be your real father. I told him the truth that I don't know him. He told me, you have your mother. Go back, talk to her, she will tell you. So when I went back home, I asked my mother, that's who is my real father? She asked me, why do you ask me? Then I told her, I have to fill the PLA forms, so it's a requirement. So my mother, this time, she told me, you are Nalubowa Hadijah. No, your father was Lubowa Paul. So in this case, as a wise child, I realized that since my father is Lubowa, I have to be Nalubowa. So I told her, I'm gonna change my name to Nalubowa Hadijah, Nalubowa Proskovia, because I was Proskovia. She didn't deny that.
Good.
I continued. So I registered as Nalubowa Proskovia. But as you know, rumors, I started hearing people saying, no, that was not my father still. Yeah. So I went again to her. I asked her, who is my father? This time she was still tough. Why are you asking me? That is your father. So I continued with the name.
So you're registered as Nalubowa Proskovia, PLE.
PLE.
Do all your education documents have Nalubowa Proskovia? Just primary.
Yeah.
Now, moving into the part 2. And Tawagambye part 1 and part 2. So moving into part 2. So, like we said earlier, you were actually a victim of early childhood marriage. And at 14, Hadijah had already gotten pregnant and moved on with the man that had made her pregnant. But here is the plot twist, because we're going to have the conversation on how she even married young. The plot twist is her husband at the time was Muslim. So how did you become Hadijah? Because the last documents with you as Nalubowa Proskovia were primary. Tell us that story.
I think even, maybe to make some collections, I didn't conceive at 14. It was 16. However, I started relationships at 14 with the first boyfriend. Yes. But when my mother intervened, as I told you, because I think you read my story fully, my mother intervened. He stopped my boyfriend through threats. I actually heard that he was even beaten. So from nowhere, he stopped talking to me.
So this is at 14?
At 14.
Okay.
So I went to secondary school, that is senior 1, senior 2. From senior 1, third term, it's where I met the guy I have right now. We continued with our love, and I conceived at 16 in senior 2. So in senior 2, when I conceived, my mother took me back to school, as I told you.
The tough woman you've been telling us about.
Yes,
That's
she's
nice.
a woman who is loving. However, she lacks knowledge of how to bring up a child, more so a girl child.
I understand.
So when she took me back, because I have skipped many, I don't know whether time can allow us.
Okay. When she took you back to school, we'll come back to those ones.
Okay. So when she took me back to school, she didn't cancel me. She didn't talk to me. Actually, I continued the relationship with the guy. However, whenever she could take alcohol, She's a woman who used to enjoy herself on the weekends. She could come and abuse me. Why don't you go to your husband? So I got annoyed. If you're a victim of violence, in most cases, you're short-tempered. A small thing can make you annoyed. So I realized I couldn't endure this environment. I called my lover by then. I told him, you know what? If you can take me somewhere, I feel I can't stay here. He told me, yes, I have a small house, but it's a sort of a rural area. Will you stay there? I told her, yeah. I told him, yes, I will stay there, no matter what. And we organized without anybody knowing where I was going.
Wow.
Only my lover knew where he was taking me.
Should we call him baby daddy? So only your lover knew at the time.
So we organized. He told me, you can find me at Chibuye. So we met. He took me to Buloba. That is Michana Road, 10 miles from Kampala. And actually, it's where I stay up to now. I stayed there for a whole year without any relative, any friend knowing where I am. So from there, my mother came looking for me after a year. I don't know how she got to know. When she reached, it was a little bit late. It was 7:30, in between 7:30 and 8 p.m. So she told me, I'm not going to sit. Good enough, I have seen you, but try to look for me where I work from. So I organized, it was like a week. I went there. She was happy. She looked to be relieved. And we reconciled. That's when we started operating again. Yeah.
So at the time, once you had moved in with a baby daddy lover.
I'm a lover.
Yes.
By then.
When you had moved in with your lover at the time, is that when he encouraged you to change your name to Hadijah? At what point did you now move away from your parents completely, that you could even change your name Hadijah?
Actually, in that real year, when we started staying together, when I reached his home, he told me, you know what, I'm a Muslim. I know you have been a Christian, but from now you are Hadijah. You're not Proskovia. Actually, people shouldn't know that you are Proskovia. I told him, but I don't know how to behave like a Muslim. I don't know how to pray. He told me, no, I will teach you how to pray, but just know you are Hadijah. So he taught me how to make ablution, how to pray. Yes, but it was a command. Yes. I have to pray 5 times a day. So you can see at that moment, my rights are still being violated. From being denied the chance of meeting my father, now I'm being infringed on what religion?
Let me ask, so when you were Christian, you were a practicing Christian, those things of, read the Bible, pray every day, go to church, and the values you believed in were Christian values.
Yes.
So now, changing from Christian to Islam, you say it was a command, but is it something you have made peace with now?
I don't think so, because at first, I thought maybe it would be easy. But when I interacted with the relative to my husband, with him, I saw that we're totally different. Our principles were not coordinating.
Yes.
But I couldn't tell him because it was a little bit tough. I kept quiet. But since I like to be a Christian, one time, it was a Sunday, I decided to go to church.
Hey, rebel. So you, Miss Hadijah, you went to church?
I went to church. Unfortunately, he came back before I came back.
No.
I don't know, maybe someone informed him that she left, she's going to run. He asked me, where are you coming from? I told him, from church, frankly. The guys loved me, bro. He caned me, seriously.
Yeah.
And he told me, never even talk about church.
Yeah.
So I continued in that situation for many years until I realized, no, I have to do what I want, whatever what. Yeah.
Power, Julia. That is power, when you actually realize what you want and actually go ahead and do it. Now let's actually really get into your story. So you've had how, she went from Yiya Proskovia to Nalubowa Hadijah. Of course, it's as if a bit disheartening stories. You're looking for your father, you're not sure who your father is, then you marry someone, you move in with someone, and now this name is imposed on you. Let's talk about your situation, because you were a child. That's the truth. You are a child, and you have been in a relationship where there's domestic violence, poverty. You have been in, you've seen it all, and that's a journey that has made you who you are today. So let's start at the beginning of this journey. You've told us when you were 14, you had a boyfriend, they chased the boyfriend away. Now you're 16, living with a man. How did that happen? How did you get pregnant with a baby? And what was the status of this man? Was he single? Where did you find him? Generally, how are you 16 years old in a man's home?
Okay. As I told you, after my mother had stopped the other guy, yes, we were almost in the same age bracket. Yeah. In the confusion, as I told you, the love at home, I felt I was not loved. My mother was a tough lady. When I do something, she canes. My father was quiet, silent. He was not bad, but not still close to me. So I had nobody to tell any issue I have. So in that situation, I found a guy who showed that he loved me. Indeed, he loved me. So we continued the relationship. So I conceived. When I conceived, as I told you, she took me to her home, to his home. We stayed together. But this guy had a wife.
He was already married.
Already married. Meaning now he had 2 homes. In the week, he could come twice. So we stayed in that situation. He was there, not well off. He could not manage the 2 families satisfactory. We continued in that life. He could live sometimes 5,000 for 2-3 days. Maybe it could be enough if I was one, but in most cases, during holidays, he could bring his children. And there are many. We are almost in the same age. But good enough, I was a determined woman. I'm principled. Yeah, they managed to treat me as a mother, but you could suffer to the extreme. So one day, he left some money, and I told my daughter, she's my stepdaughter, because she was a little bit older. I'm older than her, only 2 years. I told her, you know what, we have to use this money for a small business, and so that we can feed ourselves.
No, you're right. You're very determined.
Yeah.
Continue.
When I told her, she told me, now what can we do? I told her this 5,000 can buy jackfruit, and then we sell jackfruit. She told me, where will you get a market? By then, in our area, people can just get jackfruit from anywhere for free. So I told her, I heard that at Watoto, there is many children and mothers. Maybe they can buy our jackfruit. But the distance was a little bit longer. That is 2 miles from where I was. We had all the bicycle inside. I told her, Shamim, let us put this jackfruit on bicycle. We pushed to Watoto. We went with our knife. We could cut piece, and we sell at 100. Good enough, we could get a big jackfruit at 500.
Because they were there
for free. So the lady who was selling felt like it's much. And we used to do that. We could get like 3,000, yet we used like 500. Wow. Then we used that money. We used that money for the welfare, upkeep, eating, and whatever. My husband did interact.
Did he know about?
Yes.
Did he know about the
I
jackfruit?
told him, you know what? I'm going to start selling this jackfruit just to get okay.
Yes.
He told him, will you manage? I told him, yes, I'll manage. So we continued. But still, we could not cater for our needs with that little money. As I told you, we are many.
Yes.
But time came when Shamim had to leave.
To go to school?
Not
or go
school.
Back to her mom?
No, she just engaged with someone and she left.
She did what you did, basically.
Of course. Yeah. When she went, I couldn't continue with the business because I could not push the bicycle alone. I stopped. So the situation continued. So I have a neighbor up to now. She's a big woman. She's my mentor. She's my friend. So I went there. I told her, you know what? The situation is really bad.
Yeah.
I had yellow bananas.
Yes.
Could you buy my yellow bananas and get money? She told me why. I told her because I don't have money for catering for the family. She told me, no, I'm gonna buy these bananas, but whenever you feel like you need something, just feel free to tell me. Now I started to ask her, like, if I don't have salt, I don't have soap, she could help me. So I realized, because by the time Haji took me to his home, we agreed that, you know what, you're taking me, but I have to go back to school. Because he knew that if he accepts, I will go with him. Yes. So he accepted. But when I reached home, he didn't even talk about it. So that stopped there. I wasted 10 years.
10 years.
10 years.
So let's actually look at this. You have married young. You have this load of children to take care of. You don't have the means to take care of these children. Your husband is not providing enough support. And on top of that, you are being refused to go to school.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing some of those consequences before we even move forward with your story, because I also want to hear how you became a law graduate. You've just said you wasted 10 years, but here I am seated next to a law graduate. You know, you also have a degree in international relations, so you managed to pick yourself up. But before we get there, we talked a little bit about the domestic violence. Just share with us for someone who is in that situation, because the truth is a lot of girls by like 13, 14, we are looking for boyfriends. You know, we want to be loved, we want to be touched. You know, our hormones are all over the place, and sometimes, you know, our parents don't understand that some of us feel these things early, very, very early. So I want you to speak into someone who is a teenager really right now, or even a survivor of early teenage pregnancy. How did you overcome some of these things? Because you know, with the finances, you managed to start a business small, but who was keeping you strong? Who was encouraging you?
For sure, no one encouraged me, but I myself felt that I shouldn't be what I was initially. So I had to think bigger to reach where I am. So when I realized that this guy was not talking about going back to school, I told him, you know what, I want to go back to school. He told me, yes, I know, you will go, but not now. Yes. Then I told him, now these are 10 years wasted. When will I go back to school? He told me, I'm looking for money, you have to be in the boarding section.
Weren't you 26 at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. How many children?
4.
Okay. Continue.
So when he told me that, I realized that he's just deceiving me. So I had to do something so that I go back to school. So when he came back, I told him, you know what, we have a big compound. I think I can use this compound to make bricks so that I get capital for working. He told me, will you manage? I told him I will. I didn't know how to make them, so I got someone to tell me how to do. He taught me how to do it. It is easy. So he showed me. I collected the soil. I made it ready because I had to wait for the rain so that I make it ready for bricks. Yes, I had to cut grass
Yes, to cover.
to cover. So when I did that, of course, some of the people were laughing. Actually, one time, someone phoned me and said, "For us, we don't eat mud. We just eat breads and water." Yes. But I continued because I couldn't go to someone and ask for money. So when I made some bricks, we have some trees. I brought someone who cut them. Then I burnt these bricks.
How did you build the because you're supposed to build a mound?
Yes, of course I got some small money, like small boys with little money. I told them that's the money I have, but I will cook for you, portion what. They agreed. So after selling, I got that money. The amount I told you, it was 270,000. When I got that money, I went to Kampala to look for school because I had there is other schools in Kampala, because the other side in Buloba I couldn't get any school. So when I came to Kampala, I landed on Nachivubo Blue. When I asked them, they told me here we pay monthly 50,000, registration fee, admission fee 50. It was 30,000. That's all. So okay, when I counted my money, I realized I can start, but I didn't know how I will manage to finish. So when I paid for admission fee, I also paid 3 months. Then I went back home. I told him, you know what, I'm going back to school. He told me, now it seems you have other boyfriends. Where did you get money? I told him I burnt my what? Bricks.
Yes.
Then he kept quiet. This time he was a little bit humble, but I told him he would be helping me on transport. He didn't give me the answer. So I talked to that lady, my neighbor, that you know what, I'm going to start school, but I don't know where I will get transport and the future phase. Then she told me, what I know, you have to start. Then other people will help you while you what? Continuing with the journey. First start.
That's very good advice.
So, these were evening classes.
Yes.
I could leave home at around 4 and start classes at 5:30 and stop at 9 p.m. So when I started schooling, he started coming back very early. Yet he used to come at around 10 p.m. But I continued. Yeah. He went to a friend and reported me. Maybe he was looking for guidance. Yes. Then this guy came, he told me, you know what? You have to secure your marriage. Yeah. Your husband is not happy with your conduct. You just leave school. I asked him, do you have girls as your children? He told me yes. Do you educate them? He told me yes. Do you educate them to get married and sit home or to do something out there? Then he told me, you are asking many questions, but for you, you're already what? Married. I told him I'm ready to break with him if he feels like I'm not going to, I should stop school.
Taking your own power.
Then he went back and reported to him, the woman is serious, he's continuing his school. Then he told me, he asked me, but are you sure you will finish up school without money? I told him, I don't know, but what I know, I have started. And we continued in that situation. He would come and sleep in the garage, not even in the house, in the bedroom, until he realized that I was serious. Then what helped me maybe to finish is the day I went to school with the only transport too, but no transport from.
Auntie, they told you start. Hey, just start. Things will come.
Because I had a friend. This friend of mine used to help me.
Oh, that's nice.
Sometimes she could give me transport to go back home. Sometimes she would borrow me. But this time, she didn't come to school.
So were you stranded?
Yes, because even I had 2 friends, one male and the other one was female. The female was more supportive. Even the male was not there this time. So I decided to use the 1,000 I had in my bag to go back home, but this could only drop me to Natet. Remember, I have to go to Glover.
Yes.
And I knew my husband and friends used to sit at a
Around
certain
Natet,
petrol station. There is a restaurant. They sit and discuss their issues.
Yes.
So I went there, well knowing if I don't find my husband, I will find a friend who will help me. This time, no one was there. So I was stranded. Remember, it's late night. So I decided to walk. By the time I reached Luigi Busega, that swamp area, no one was moving. I was alone. So I saw a vehicle stopping alongside me. Okay. And it was, I'm done.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bad person.
As women, that's the first thing we think.
So the guy called me. I recognized the name. He told me, come and sit. Inside I sat. He asked me, why are you moving at night alone? So I told him, I didn't have transport. That's why I decided to move. He asked me, is it the situation you pass through? I told him, yes, because your friend does not support me at all.
Yes.
So he told me, okay, I'm going to talk to him. But still, I'm going to help you with the little I have. We went at a certain shop. He bought a full sack, 50 kilograms of maize flour. He gave me 50,000. He told me, we'll use that money for transport, but still I'm going to talk to him. So when he called him, before he came to me, he had already called him, and for him, he received him. And he told me to take you home. When I reached home, he didn't ask me anything. I just narrated the situation and he was quiet. What I didn't know, he was touched. For him, we thought maybe it was something easy. So the next week I saw him at school.
At
Nachivubo Blue, He came, he went to the administration block. He asked them the money they were demanding. He paid some money. Then he started giving me transport. However much he was not well off, he could sometimes tell me, you guy will send you. Yes. He could send me 5,000 for transport. But this time, at least, it was somehow easy. He became supportive from then.
That's a very good turning point. Now, that is an impressive turning point for Hadijah's husband. Thank you, Hadijah, for sharing that, because we've actually now, the story has come full circle, and I know there's a lot of things maybe we might not be able to hear from your story today in particular, but I think it's a big deal. You know, you come from early childhood, and I guess lucky enough you've managed to stay with the same partner for all these years, and you've shared, you know, some of your struggles, having a hard time getting work, poverty, domestic violence, and even now you've reached a turning point that's very impressive. You've gone back to school, your husband is being more supportive. So I kind of want to skip your story a little bit, because I want us also to talk about some of the things that lead girls, young girls and women into situations like this. So let's skip a little bit to the end. Hadijah, what's your status right now? You went to school and finished. Just give us one more time where you are in life today.
Yeah, of course. When I went back to school, I've been successful at all levels. Yeah, and when I reached at university, I went to IU. Yes, I was successful because within 4 years I graduated. After graduation, because you may ask, why did you continue with another degree in international relations? I had no plans of soon going back to school because I had no money for master. But when on my graduation party, one of my friends told me, you know what, there is this university, they pay little money. You can go and study international relations. It can help you somewhere. So I told my husband, why don't I just continue with studies? Because I didn't even break at all. After graduation, I started international relations. There, early this year, I graduated. Yeah. So I'm a lawyer by profession. I'm also a diplomat by profession, but I haven't practiced because, as I have told you, I wasted 10 years. I lost friends from childhood. Even at my age, you find it very difficult to look for a job. Uh, so that's the reason why I'm still out. But I have hope, and I'm also a businesswoman. I started my small business. I sell sand, slates, Hadijah, but at a small scale. I also sell fruits. Yeah, like avocados, yellow bananas, jackfruit. Yeah, that little I get from my business at least helps me. I can manage to help my children, to cater for myself. Because if I don't tell you that I'm not employed, I think you can't. You cannot, you know. Yeah.
I can't say. You look good, honey.
Yeah.
Ooh, beautiful. Sorry.
So that
Now
is
back to the
my
story.
status. Yeah, I'm a mother of 6. I'm married. I'm a businesswoman. Yeah. And
So now let's help someone who hasn't yet reached your status. I like that the Ministry of Education has been actually tasked to improve and come up with a sexuality education policy. So I think those are the things that a lot of young girls miss out on. So how do you think young girls can avoid? Well, of course, yes, there's perpetrators and ebigenderako, but how do you think young girls can avoid being in the same situation as you were in?
before I talk about young girls, my focus is on parents. Yes, I think, however much we may teach these children, but they start up with their parents. So before they get love, they can't achieve without love from their parents. That interaction, they should share issues, they should support, they should be loved. Because if you don't get to know that you loved, it's very dangerous to
You
young
start to
girls.
look for it in other
Any other
places.
places.
So what you're saying is, and you spoke a little bit about the relationship with your mother. I wish we could be able to speak more on that. What you're saying is, it's not just about having what you need. You need to have a relationship. So I could have money, I could have education, I could have, I could be provided for. But if I don't have that relationship with my parents, I'll look for that love elsewhere.
Elsewhere.
So let's actually talk to some of our mothers, because you said your mother was tough love, but you can see that she loved you. You can feel it. So what are you doing different as a mother that you've managed to carry that love she has for you, but without the things that you were scared of that your mother did to you? How have you managed to, take the lessons from your mother and carry it on as a mother?
The lessons I've got from my mother, yes, however much she loved me, but I got to realize that very late. Yes, I realized that after getting married.
How many children did you have when you realized?
By then I think it was only one.
Only one. When you also became a mother, then you understood.
Then I understood, but it was too late because I had already passed through that situation of teenage relationships, pregnancy, now marriage. So it was a little bit late. So I think if parents could do their role, and I think it's not because
You tell us the lessons that you have carried on. Or because now you've had the experience of the bad experience and the good experience.
The lessons I have learned is that we should love our children. We are, as parents, we should be supportive. However much you're not rich, but at least talk to your child. Let your child understand you. You should also understand your child. That is one lesson. The second lesson I have learned from that, children should be given their freedom.
Wanji?
Yeah.
I
They
like
should
hearing
be
that one.
given
Repeat it.
freedom.
Someone didn't hear it.
Because in Africa, we feel like if a baby or a child is in that state, he shouldn't share what they feel. They shouldn't get the rights as them. Because I compared children or teenagers in Africa and teenagers in the other countries. I don't think they treat them the same way we treat our children, but they are successful. They are mature, brain-wise, psychologically. But here, like me, my mother used to beat me. used to quarrel with me, abuse, but I didn't get from that. Actually, and I developed enmity against her. I thought maybe she doesn't love me. So I think we as parents, we should give them freedom to say what they feel like. Yeah.
And if you've noticed, a child with freedom to speak has a good relationship because the communication flows. Now, I like that. I like that now that you're older, you have good perspective on some of these things. You have your 6 beautiful children, and you're happy. So, are you now practicing the things that you were not able to practice when you were younger? And I'll point out specifically family planning methods and contraceptives, because you had 4 children back to back, as if like this. What there's something they say in Uganda. What's the word? I don't know. I forget it. So you had 4 children back to back. Most of our parents did that as well. And I guess, it worked out. But for a teenager, I'm sure that wasn't easy. I'm sure it wasn't easy to have 4 children back to back. So are there family planning methods that you're using now? Or are there things about family planning you can tell someone today that could help their relationship?
Of course, after giving birth to 4 children, yet I had to go back to school. I had to step on the brakes. I decided to resort to pills.
Okay. The contraceptive pills. The ones for daily?
Daily. It worked. I shouldn't say that it didn't work, because at least this time I managed it to space.
Okay.
However, it was not conclusive.
After at some point you were pregnant.
I conceived, yet I'm taking the pills.
Imagine.
When I gave birth to my girl, it was really embarrassing. I was joining university. I'm now pregnant. I gave birth. I continued with the pill, thinking maybe I did a mistake. When she was 2.5, I realized I was pregnant.
Number 6.
Yes.
Okay.
So there I decided to talk with the doctor that why is it I'm taking pills and still I'm conceiving. He told me, it's not conclusive. Maybe the pills didn't react with your body, but I can advise you to use a coil since your weight, because he told me about the other methods, but by then I was more than 75 kilograms. He told me, no, if you use these injections and what, you may become more fat. It's better use a coil which has no chemicals. So I resorted to it, and now it's 5 years.
Wow. And of the things that you have accomplished in the last 5 years, on a scale of 1 to 10, first of all, how proud are you of yourself?
Before I got to proud, I did finish I want a certain point to talk about what I learned. I learned that in life, we have to be determined. We have to be hardworking, and we have to be with hope. And that's why I'm a graduate right now.
I feel like you've given us the conclusion before the conclusion. But yes, we're going to talk about hope. So are you proud of yourself?
Yes.
That's very good. Now that you're proud of yourself, you have plans and ambitions for the next years to come. And before we even talk about that, we were still talking about, the contraceptives, and Discover Your Power UG pushes the self-inject contraceptive. Now, I really wished a young girl like you had an opportunity to have access to this contraceptive, because it's 3 months without taking it again. Once you self-inject, now the self-inject of course is good for girls in rural areas. You don't have access to the clinics immediately, so you get your self-injects, you keep your calendar, you inject the first one, then you count, and you don't have to keep going. Yes, and it really takes care of a lot of issues, privacy, so I really wished someone like you had that opportunity to even just save yourself, so you can at least not go back to school in time, finish all the things that you wanted to do while you were still young. So it really would have been nice. But you still have plans, and you have an opportunity to carry these plans forward. And I would like to speak about you working with girls who are in the same position that you are in. What kind of work do you think you can do to help? What kind of work do you think you can do to help girls who have gotten pregnant early, girls who have been married off because they've gotten pregnant?
Okay, maybe being a victim, I've passed through a lot. I think I represent many who are there. As you have talked about it, I passed through poverty. Oh, no, let me start from early pregnancy, early marriage, domestic violence, poverty, dropping out of school. It's a lot. But in most cases, when people like me, when they conceive, when they drop out of school, they think everything is done. Now the only option is marriage and giving birth. And those are many. Even on my village where I live, I see many. Yes, when you ask them why are you not working, my husband refused me. It feels like husband, that's all. So I feel if I could get that support, this support may be guidance, it may be skills, because however much I have that ambition, I lack skills on how to reach my goal. So I myself, I feel like if someone can help me, again, you may direct me to where I can get skills. It may be an NGO, it may be an expert person who is expert, it may be a material thing, it may be material, you may say which materials, because to start I think we need like a computer, we need like a room, we need things to use. Yes, we need finances, because if you to make a research, of course you need finances. Yes, however much I know, but I need to hear from them. Yes, what do they pass through? So I feel if I can get that opportunity, I can help other girls and women who have passed through what I have passed through.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Hadijah. And this is very timely, because the number of girls that have suffered teenage pregnancy and early marriage, especially after the pandemic, after the lockdown, the numbers are high. The numbers are high. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of young women who will need the kind of advice you have to offer, the encouragement and hope. Brings me back to hope. Hadijah, thank you for being hopeful. I wanted you to tell us that what kept you going, but since you already said it, do you want to repeat it again? Because you held on to hope, and even from the way you're talking, there's still hope. You can still do more. So just tell us what kept you going one final time, and maybe leave a last remark for everyone that's watched you.
What kept me going? Yeah, I think determination, hope. Yes, those two. And hardworking. Yeah, indeed, I'm hardworking. I'm a person who can do any job. I don't mind what other people say. Because most people, when they get educated, they feel like, no, I can't do this, I can't. But for me, if you find me at home, I always dig. I have my small garden, I dig, I sell my bananas and whatever. So that hardworking has kept me go on. But I feel like even however much we need to help these victims, but even men themselves have problems. If we help women and we leave out the husbands, the men, we may not reach where we're going. I think they should also be sensitized. Yes, if they can be sensitized, we can reach where we are going. So as I'm concluding, I'm calling upon girls, women to be hardworking, to be hopeful, and to stick on education. If you're still young, stick on it. I know there is challenges out there, but let me tell you, out there is not easy. Yeah, out there is not easy. Let them stick on school. Let them utilize the little they have, because nothing will be enough.
And
yeah,
you have spoken well, my sister. nothing will be enough. And if you're one of those people that feel that, you know, life has just become too heavy, maybe you have too many responsibilities, children after children, you can get with the self-inject contraceptive. Now, the self-inject contraceptive gives you 3 months without worrying about anything. You don't have to think, hey, banange, is it time? You inject yourself today, keep your calendar, and every 3 months keep self-injecting. You can do it privately, you can do it at your own time in your own home, and I think that's a good way to take charge of your power. Thank you so much, Nalubowa Hadijah, for sharing your power with us, for sharing your story with us, and encouraging us to keep hope alive. That is one of the most amazing things I've had today. We do not condone what happened to you. You are a victim, but you did the most that you could and lived the life, you know, lived the best life that you could, and we appreciate it, and we thank you for being our queen today on the Throne Takeover. Make sure you look out for the next episode in January 2022. This was proudly brought to you by Discover Your Power UG. My name is Maritza. Until next time, bye bye.